And welcome back to Mandela Effect tonight, episode 2. Your host, Sean Indigo, here. Why am I wearing sunglasses? I don't fucking know. All right, no, I'm just playing. All right, you ready, guys? Let's get to it. Let's get to it. See what we're going to talk about. If you haven't seen episode 1, I'm sorry, episode 2, but the first segment, 2.1, that explains what these categories represent. But it's not necessary. Okay, Matrix glitch. Glitches in the Matrix. All right. The Bermuda Triangle. Okay. Now, you're going to find as many explanations as to what the fuck's going on with the Bermuda Triangle as you will find people. All right. So it's not, I don't expect most people to be like, holy shit, he nailed it. That's what the Bermuda Triangle is about. That's why those weird anomalies occur. But I'm telling you, I've always been fascinated with the Bermuda Triangle, and I've tried to discover what was going on. And the most reliable, the most wise, the most knowledgeable folks that I've encountered have a consensus, and it makes a hell of a lot of sense. And it matches up with other things that I've learned. The Bermuda Triangle. Here's my understanding of why ships and planes have the anomalies, where they vanish, where they go across distance in times that they shouldn't be able to, that they get lost, stranded, that the compass gets all crazy. So anyway, there is a piece of technology in the ocean, bottom of the ocean basically, in that area. That technology was from before the flood, commonly known as the times of Atlantis. So yes, technology, very likely Atlantean technology, and that piece of technology is functioning at some capacity. I'm sure it's not working as it was designed, but there's still some juice in the battery, so to speak. And if the conditions are just right, an analogy would be if this technology would be like a broken mirror at the bottom of the ocean, and if the angle of the sunlight, I know sunlight's at the bottom of the ocean, but bear with me, it's an analogy. The angle of the sunlight bounces off broken mirror pieces just right, and then it like turns on for a second. And if there's a ship or a plane nearby, when it turns on, poof, something weird can happen. So there you go. All right, spin the wheel. All right, what do we got? Maps. Back to the maps. All right. Map change as it is. Okay. So these are things map related that I either haven't touched on much or I haven't touched on at all. Now, Alaska, I mentioned the coastline looking all wacky, like really crazy looking, and also Alaska's proximity, closeness to Russia, also kind of strange. Do you realize Alaska? Now, maybe this is nothing new for you guys. Maybe it is. But do you realize that Alaska is so huge that if it was superimposed onto the lower 48, United States of America, it would stretch from the tip of like the border of Canada to the border of Mexico. It would stretch all the way across from Canada to Mexico. That one state. I mean, I knew Alaska was the biggest state, but I don't know. I think maybe somebody gave it some Mandela effect steroids or something. Yep. Also, interesting note. I haven't really talked a lot about the North Pole and the Arctic Ocean and such, but I do want to let you know, in case you were curious, you might not have realized this, but do you know that the actual physical location of the North Pole, there is a Russian flag, and it's at the bottom of the ocean. On the North Pole, at the bottom of the ocean, there's a Russian flag marking the North Pole, the bottom of the ocean. You can check it out. So yeah, all right. Let's spin the wheel, see what we get. All right, we got General Mandela Effect. General Mandela Effect. All right. I'd like to talk about narwhals. Now, this is a weak argument when it's the narwhal thing. It's one of those things you never heard of. Oh my God! It's like, what happened? Where did they come from? Yes, it is possible and quite frankly likely that people just haven't heard of these things. However, I'd like to bring to your attention a former coworker of mine. She's in her 40s. The Mandela effect really hit her hard. When I realized what was going on with these changes, and I shared it with my coworkers, she was like hit by most of them, and she could not get over the Berenstain Bears changing to Berenstain for like a month. It was just a mind blower. But yeah, narwhal. Now she never heard of narwhal either. I never heard of it. Didn't realize. I couldn't believe it. Like a unicorn horned animal was real. But anyway, my friend, my coworker, she grew up infatuated with unicorns. Loved the shit out of unicorns. Collected every unicorn stuffed animal or sticker, anything she could get her hands on growing up. Never, ever, ever did a freaking narwhal cross her path with regard to merchandise, memorabilia, pictures, etc. An avid unicorn collector, and anything that had anything connected to a unicorn horns, anything like that, she wanted. She never ever heard of a narwhal, ever. So I find that a little odd. And then for me, something that I have a connection to would be Jane Goodall. My mom's favorite animal is gorillas, and I also was fascinated by animals in general and what they're capable of, and just kind of what makes animals unique and the different species and stuff. But yeah, Gorillas in the Mist, Jane Goodall, gorillas, Jane Goodall. That's what I remember. People are like, what about Diane Fossey? Like, I don't know if I pronounce her name right. Never heard of her. Nope, not until last year when I learned about Mandela effect. Some people were saying Jane Goodall is like with chimps now, and she didn't die by poachers a long time ago. And holy shit, look at that, she's alive, and she worked with chimps, not gorillas. I couldn't believe it. So yeah, so that was that was another one of those weird things for me. All right, let's spin the wheel, see what we get next. All right, we got the Matrix. The Matrix. How the physical world works. All right. So this shifting from physical reality to physical reality. After this series, episode 2 series are over, I'm going to dig in hard to that concept so that we can come to a better understanding, a better, more well-rounded, fuller understanding of that shifting into different physical realities. But yeah, so spontaneous remission. The person has some terrible disease situation going on, and then they don't, and the doctors have no rational explanation on what happened. Like, the doctors are just mind blown. It happens, right? Spontaneous remission. It's a miracle. I just wanted to point out, without getting too much into it, that the person who had the spontaneous remission, they are in a different freaking body, a different physical body. Spirit, the inside stuff, same. The soul, it's the same. That physical body in the physical world was different. That's how the disease went away. It didn't like disappear. You went to a different body that didn't have it. Okay. All right. I'm going to spin the wheel. I got time for one more. All right. Berenstain. Berenstain. What makes this timeline evidence that this timeline is a good timeline? The world's getting nicer and better. Okay. Berenstain. This will be a brief one. Leadership, okay? Leadership. Whether you're talking about leading a country or showing leadership in an employment setting or among peers. Leadership. In the past, leadership was dictated by muscle. Physical muscles, organs, whatever. Muscle. You know what I'm saying? Muscle. Physical force. Leadership was about the muscle for a long time. Nowadays, correct me if I'm wrong, nowadays, leadership and being successful at it is usually about your ability to get along with others. We're evolving, people. We're evolving. Leadership isn't about muscle as much about it's not cut and dry. It's not all or nothing. Leadership is not these days so much about the muscle, and it's much more about your ability to get along with others. Think of the most successful leaders in like big companies and stuff. But anyway, all right, guys. I will see you next time.